We need to talk about Spree, directed by Eugene Kotlyarenko, about Kurt Kunkle, who is desperate for internet fame and becomes a Spree rideshare driver, which is basically an Uber driver, who has figured out a deadly plan to go viral. If I had to describe this film in one word, it would be chaotic. It's just been released on Netflix UK, so you can go check it out there. If you love all things film, TV and funny skits, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when I upload. I love the way it's filmed. It's very similar to films like Searching, Host and the Unfriended films. But for me, this film is even more advanced with how it keeps switching formats. We have live streaming, Instagram Live, Instagram, YouTube, security cameras, GoPros. So it's constantly changing up its viewing style, which adds to the suspense and tension of the film. I've seen people complain about how Kurt's battery doesn't die and how unrealistic it is. But at the start, Kurt explains that he has loads of battery power banks and GoPro batteries. What I found really cool was how at the end of the movie we see all the articles. Then it goes to the dark side of the internet with forums, where everyone is known as anonymous. And someone comments, "Thanks everyone for sending those vids and links. Here's the movie. I called it Spree. Hope all you curlies like it, wink face." So basically the whole film is a compilation video of all the footage found online. And that explains why the edit has such a raw feel to it. I really enjoyed the multiple screens, as at one point there were even 3 different screens being displayed at the same time. That was a really cool way to show the same thing but from different angles. It was super clever how the film intro was a screen recording of the app opening on Kurt's phone. During the film I actually had to pause and keep rewinding, as I was struggling to read all the comments and pay attention at the same time. The attention to detail in this film is incredible, as some of the comments were really funny, some were the typical trolling comments, and they also gave a backstory to most of the characters. Like we learned that DJ Uno blew up from a leaked sex tape from the comments on her Insta Live. The lighting in this film is really clever, as during the night Kurt has LED strip lights in his car which can change colour. And they've made it seem like it's just a trend. This allows the film to be playful, like when Kurt is watching Jessie's Insta story full of resentment, because she's popular and he isn't. In this scene the LED lights are red, which connotes anger, danger and comes across as a warning sign. We're led to believe that he's gone to Jessie's house to kill her, but he's actually going to Bobby's house. I like how they played with the narrative, as it's super suspenseful. Kurt Kunkle, aka Kurt's World 96. Our protagonist played by Joe Keery, who you might know from Stranger Things. There is a scene in the rideshare where Jessie calls him a Twitter bot, as he literally just regurgitates internet language. Like follow for follow, nobody actually says that out loud. After watching interviews on YouTube, I learned that the director Eugene made Joe watch cringe compilations of smaller YouTubers just starting out, just to get that right tone, as every YouTuber has started off a bit cringy. Well, I know I have. But Kurt takes it to a whole different level. I just need to talk about the fact that Kurt is mentally unstable and he's snapped. Like, he didn't just go out and kill people, he took time to plan an evil killing spree. Also, Kurt seems to have some really weird ethical code where he doesn't accept misogyny and racism, which we saw in the car when he told Mario to get out for being rude to Jessie. Yet he's killing people left, right and centre. I think this really shows how detached he is from the world. He literally lives in his own world. This is shown in the scene where Kurt felt so entitled, he started running over all the homeless people, talking about how they aren't important because they don't have a social media presence, and that his mum and dad can't stop him. What I loved about this scene was how he crashes, which is a little hint that he can be stopped and he isn't anything special. Joe Keery played Kurt to perfection. I get Louis from Nightcrawler vibes with a hint of the Joker. But unlike these characters, Kurt is just pathetic, and that is what the director Eugene wanted. Kurt is sad and jealous, and even after all this, he's still seen as a loser. It's only the darker side of the internet who see him as cool, which is explored at the end through the forums. I also love how creepy he was when he had to get a go-go ride, basically another taxi company, as Spree had been suspended due to loads of people disappearing on their rides. About time. And then there was this lovely British driver who was like, "You don't need to worry, I'm not the rideshare killer." Then Kurt did this really creepy laugh being like, "I know." And then the next scene was Jessie being picked up by the same go-go ride. And bam, Kurt has replaced the British driver with some new cuts. I wonder what happened there. Can I just say how dedicated Kurt is to clout? He even has his own merch, he's rocking out those Kurt World hats. He has stickers, multiple GoPro cameras with different angles, he even has a GoPro in the boot. If anything, this film teaches you to invest in yourself. Wait, that's a bit dark. Kurt must have 9 lives, and I don't get how he had a car accident, yet he still managed to turn up at Jessie Adams' show. Even the comments were like, "How are you still alive?" Chris Kunkle, Kurt's dad, played by David Arquette. He plays the perfect man-child that needs to grow up. He dresses like he's 22 going to a raving Ibiza. I do feel for Chris, as he's a failed DJ who doesn't have the best relationship with Kurt. Kurt calls him Chris, not Dad. Kurt explains how Chris and Kurt's mom had some issues, and now Kurt resents him for all this, but he killed his mom. So I just think Kurt's getting his anger out on his dad, to be honest. I think he's angry that his dad isn't a massive DJ, because then Kurt could just get clout from his dad. Kurt has so much anger built up, especially when he shot his father. It wasn't just once, it was loads. DJ Uno, played by Sunny Kim, basically the typical influencer. She only started being nice to Kurt when he said he was live streaming. Then she uses Kurt's desperation for fame by making him take her to get food, just for photos so that she could post on social media saying she'd tag him on socials, which she obviously wasn't gonna do. Her character was very believable as she just lives for socials. Like when she was getting food, she asked Kurt to get her the most famous food. Part of her brand is being a foodie, which was explained in her Instagram live comments. It was so intense when she drank the water when Kurt was at the car and briefly died. Yes, I did say briefly. As she came back to life. Why on earth did Kurt throw the water bottle out the window in front of the police? Like, I get that he wanted to get rid of the evidence, but that was the most suspicious thing he could have done. Then Kurt was speaking to the police officers and DJ Uno woke up scared and tried to shoot Kurt and accidentally shot one of the cops, then ran. That was such a chaotic scene. I was relieved that she wasn't dead, as I thought for sure the cops were going to realise that she wasn't moving and was in fact dead. When Kurt was being tested to see if he was drunk by the police, I was pretty sure that was going to be the end of the film and Kurt was going to be caught. Plus, she found a gun in Kurt's car and her first thought was to take photos with it. But that's how so many influencers are. They live for the gram. Follow my social media, I'm Naomi Julien. Bobby, aka Bobby Basecamp, played by Joshua Oveye. Your typical YouTuber who does fake prank videos. He did a fake help the homeless video where the homeless man literally looked at the camera. An interesting point about this was the fact that Bobby had to tell Kurt it was fake when it was so obvious. So Kurt isn't okay in the mind and he just believes everything he sees. But that happens in the real world a lot. So many people see prank YouTube videos and think that they're real, then try to recreate them and it can go really wrong. Some YouTubers take it too far, examples ranging from filming dead bodies to smashing the new PS5 in Stratford Westfield. Kurt resents Bobby so much as he used to babysit him, now Bobby has blown up on socials. He is everything that Kurt wants to be, so he's just trying to leech off Bobby and get his followers. Bobby actually comes across as a bit of a douche. He claims to be helping Kurt, but he's just insulting him all the time. But on reflection, he's just creeped out by Kurt's creepy stream, as Bobby just full of some evil storyline. I don't think Bobby believed what Kurt was doing until he turned up at his house and it was too late. I saw loads of reviews on how unrealistic the blood looked, especially when Kurt killed Bobby, but I think that's part of the film, as people in the comments were saying it's fake blood, it's not real, it's a prank. This also excuses the fact that there were loads of people watching the live stream and nobody called the police. I think it's another really important topic to touch on. It's so hard to differentiate what is fake news and what isn't. Plus, I think people watching didn't want to believe it was real, as they've been egging Kurt on and watching for all this time. At the end of the film, people were still commenting, when is Bobby going to show up and reveal this is all some dark prank? This brings me to a point at the end of the film when Jesse's fighting Kurt. And she runs to hide with her phone in her hand, and the first thing she does is rant to people on a live stream, saying how can they watch this, then she asks them to call the police. But why didn't she call the police? Yeah, I know she doesn't know where she is, but the police can just track her phone number to find her location. That would have been way more efficient than telling strangers on the internet to call the police. Jessie Adams, played by Sashia Zamata. Jessie is a stand-up comedian with a huge following. She's the only normal character in this film and the film's saviour, but even she's problematic. She streams her whole life, literally, which cannot be saved and is way too invasive. Also, when she eventually killed Kurt with her phone, which I found very ironic, all the comments on the live stream were like, take a selfie with him, and she did! I guess she went through a lot, but it's lucky she did that though, because that's what went viral on Instagram. One of my favourite parts is when Kurt was watching Jessie's Instagram story criticising her, like he was a social media strategist, being all like her content isn't even consistent. What's her brand? What's your brand, Kurt? Murder? I just need to say that when Jessie wasn't going to get in the spree in the beginning of the film, Kurt was like, get in, I don't do this for money. She should have realised this was a warning sign. No normal person does this for fun. Overall, I'm just happy that a black woman ended up winning. And I think the ending was really realistic, as it was all live streamed, so then people would want to know Jessie's story. As she stopped the rideshare killer, and she would become famous in real life. Miles, played by Kyle Mooney, who is almost as desperate as Kurt, but he's not on his level just yet. He is literally trying to leech off Jessie's success. It's so annoying to watch him constantly trying to film Jessie. After she smashed her phone and said she was going to take a social media break, you could just see how he was just trying to use her to gain followers and it wasn't genuine. The first passenger, well, I should say victim of Kurt, was Frederick, who is racist and homophobic. So when Kurt kills him, you actually don't feel that bad. It's the same with Maru, but how he killed was a bit like, whoa. Kurt didn't need to drive over him as well as hit him with the car. I first thought Kurt was like a Dexter, only going for bad people. But it isn't until we see Ariana Grande's brother Frankie Grande and the OC queen Misha Barton and reality star Lala Kent that you're like, damn, he's crazy. And the way he kills them too with the dogs and the drill, whoa. Also, when Kurt talked about spiking his bottles, I thought he was just gonna knock them out, not kill them. And it all happened so quickly, like they took one sip and then bam, dead. I like how it starts off with the old YouTube trend Draw My Life video, similar to old Casey Neistat videos. The non-linear narrative works really well in this film, as when he kills his mum, we see it from outside his house from the GoPros in his car. Then later on in the film, we see it from inside the house and you clock that it's the same scene just from a different point of view. Also, he brings out a crystal chain, which I'm guessing is from his mum, and displays it from the car rear view mirror. Then he tells Misha Barton that his mum gave it to him, which is so dark and shows that he doesn't feel anything. Like a normal person wouldn't be able to talk about the mum so calmly after they just killed her. The film did kind of lose me halfway through as it's a bit all over the place, but all the murders going on brought my attention right back. There were so many suspenseful moments and I really enjoyed this film. I'm giving Spree a 7.5. I would have given it a higher score, but I just felt like something was missing. Drop a comment, let me know what you thought about Spree. Do you agree or do you not agree? In the words of Kurt, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. Follow for follow, and if you post anything on social media, don't forget to tag me at I am Naomi Julien.